All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the fourth part of the show, we are going to now get into talking about the NFC West and who is most likely going to win this division. So right now, currently, you have the Arizona Cardinals, who are 6-4, and everybody else, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the 49ers are 5-5. So let's go through the Cardinals' remaining schedule. So they come out of the bye. They will be in Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Then they're at the Vikings, home against the Seahawks, home against the Patriots, at Carolina to take on the Panthers, and then their final two games are at the Rams and then home against the 49ers. So they got some tough games coming up. Now, I do think that they will at least split with Seattle. I think that's fair. I think maybe they drop this game. The Vikings game is going to be tough. I think I might pencil that in as a loss. They're due to lose a game. They have won 4 in a row. Give them a lot of credit to be at this point where you're in first place, and no one really had them in first place in the NFC West at this point. There were people that had them making the playoffs. I did not, but give them credit for where they're at here. So, like I said, I think they split with the Seahawks. I think the Vikings, like I said, could be a loss. So maybe they drop their next two. They're 6-6, and then they win and go 7-6. And then, look, the Patriots game could be a little bit tough just because Drake May has played well. But I maybe would lean towards giving the Cardinals the win there. The Panthers, I mean, we'll see how they look out of the bye against the Chiefs. But, they've won 2 in a row. So that might not be as much of a gimme as it was originally. But I think the Cardinals probably still win that. The Rams, I mean, the Rams are going to want to get revenge because the Cardinals smacked them around earlier in the season, and they got Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back, so I'd give them a loss there. And I think, you know what? I think the 49ers beat them last week of the season because maybe it comes down to those two teams. So I'm going to give them, like I said, win against the Patriots, Panthers, and then a split against the Seahawks. So that gets them to 9 wins, 9-8. I think that's what we could be looking at. Then we look at the Rams' schedule. They got the Eagles coming up, which is a really tough game, and I just talked about how well the Eagles' defense has been playing. If they match up against the Lions in the playoffs, that's one aspect of their game to look at. And yeah, their defense has played well, and we saw, the Dolphins' defense and the pressure that they put on Matthew Stafford and how, they kept the Rams out of the end zone. The Rams had to kick a bunch of field goals, and I don't think that's going to happen in this game. I think the Rams will find the end zone here, but I'm leaning towards the Eagles in this game. So I might pencil that in as a loss. Then at the Saints are playing better. They are playing better. Derek Carr has looked good these last couple games. That could be a tough game for the Rams. But I'd probably lean towards giving them the win. So then they're 6-6. Then you got the Bills at home. I mean, right now I lean towards the Bills. So that could get you to 6-7. And then at the Niners, I mean, I feel like the Niners want to get revenge on the Rams. So maybe I'd give the Niners the win. And then you got the Jets, Cardinals, and Seahawks to end off the year. So you basically have to win out. I think they should beat the Jets. Like I said, Cardinals, you want to get revenge on them. And then you got the Seahawks. So maybe it's a win-and-in scenario there. So I think I also have them at 9-8 as well. We'll see, though. I mean, I think if they win against the Eagles on Sunday, that would be huge. That would give me a lot more confidence in this team. Because I did say I believe the Rams were going to go on a run. Now, I didn't expect them to lose to the Dolphins. I did not expect that. Had they won that game, then you could afford a loss to the Eagles this week. But right now, the way everything is, and looking at the wild card in the NFC, you need to win. You need to win out. or at least get to 10 wins. And then I think he should be good. 10 wins could be what wins the division. Maybe even 9. So we'll see. And then we got the Seahawks. So their remaining schedule, they got the Cardinals at home, which I said they would split with the Cardinals. Then they're at the Jets, which should be a win. So that would get them to 7-5. And I said they'd split with the Cardinals 7-6. Then you got the Packers at home. That's a dicey game. I think that could go either way. I think the Packers are the better team, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Seahawks won. So we'll see what happens there. Then you got the Vikings after that. So they have 3 NFC North opponents 3 weeks in a row. They got the Packers, the Vikings at home, both of them at home, and then you're at the Bears. So that's going to be tough. And then at the Rams, final week of the season. Like I said, I think they would split with the Cardinals, so that would give them another loss. I think they lose to the Vikings, but that's not a guarantee. So that would have them at 7 losses there. Packers could be a loss. Rams could be a loss. I mean, maybe they finish 8-9. Maybe. I mean, give them a lot of credit. Defense played really well against the Niners. Geno Smith did not have a great game. It's going to be if they make the playoffs, it's going to be on how well Geno Smith plays down the stretch, which is kind of a no-brainer there. But still, if Geno Smith could play well towards the end of the year here, then it's possible that they get in. But they got tough games on the schedule. Like I said, the Vikings, the Packers, the Rams. It's going to be tough. Then you're playing the Bears on a Thursday night. They at least look better against the Packers. We'll see how they look, against the Vikings this week. But that could be a tough game. So we'll see if the Seahawks are up for the challenge. And then we got the Niners, and they have a tough schedule. They have a very, very tough schedule, and they're not playing great right now. So they got the Packers this week, which I think this game could go either way. You hope they get George Kittle back. That would be a huge boost for this offense. That's in Lambeau. And then you got the Bills on Sunday night the following week. And that's a Bills home game. I don't think the Niners are going to lose 2 straight. I think they're going to at least split these next 2 games. Then I think I would give them a win against the Bears. I'm going to give them the win against the Rams. At the Dolphins could be tough. The Dolphins have been playing better since Tua's come back. Maybe I give them the win there. The Lions, right now, looks like it's going to be a loss. And then the Cardinals, I said they would beat them. So I said the Lions was definitely a loss. I think they split the Packers and the Bills. So right now that would put them at 10-7. So, I mean, like I said, they have lost to their division, each of their divisional opponents. They split with Seattle already. But I do think that they will get revenge on the Rams and on the Cardinals. And I think they will get to at least 10-7. That's what I'm gonna say. 10-7 they finish with, and that could be good enough to win the division. And the other thing, too, is Christian McCaffrey is still working his way back. If Christian McCaffrey can get it going, that will make a huge difference for this team. Because they can just ride him and, they could that could take them to the playoffs. But the other thing, too, is, they blow leads. Their defense has not been good. Nick Bosa is banged up. You're still missing some guys on defense. So, yeah, that's another problem, too. And now Brock Purdy's dealing with shoulder soreness. And you don't want to lose him. Their backup is Josh Dobbs, who, last year he was a headline of the NFL. He was a story in the NFL for a little bit, but then, kind of flamed out. Brock Purdy cannot get hurt. That's one of the last people you want to see get hurt. He's been one of your durable players this year in a year where there's been a lot of injuries. So, but the Niners have the toughest schedule remaining. But I would like to say that I would like to think that they are going to make a run here and are able to get into the playoffs. And look, it's not like their season is over. Like, we could sit here and say, yeah, the Niners might not be that good right now, but they're only one game back. They're one game behind the Cardinals. They're tied right now. They control their own destiny because they play the Rams again and they play the Cardinals. Now, if the Seahawks win out, well, maybe they don't. But for the most part here, the Niners control their own destiny. If the Niners win out, or if the Niners go, 11-6, I think they're making the playoffs and winning the division here. And it's just hard for me to imagine them not being in the playoffs. But, we are now, we're going into week 12 of the NFL season, and they're 5-5. So, we'll see what happens. But, it starts with the Packers this week, which is going to be a very tough game. And like I said, the hope is they get George Kittle back. And, we'll see what happens. But let me know what you guys think, though. Who wins the NFC West? Let me know in the comments. Like I said, I still think the 49ers are going to be the team to do it. I'm not going to give up on them. But, if you lose this week and then you go into Buffalo at 5-6, it's going to be tough. Because the Bills are playing really good football. The Packers, I think, of the two games between the Packers and the Bills, I would say it's more likely that the 49ers could win this game coming up than the game against the Bills the following week. That's just my opinion. Just a feeling that I have. But we'll see. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Who wins the NFC West? Let me know in the comments. So when we come back from our next break, we will talk about my power rankings for this week, my top 5 teams after week 11. And like I said, it was tough. It was really tough. The number 5 spot has been a revolving door, but also I had to make, a couple of changes with teams that have moved up, teams that moved down. The top 2 I think is going to stay the same for the most part, but 3 through 5, especially number 5, there's going to be changes mostly every week, especially at the 5 spot. But we will get into all that. We will discuss all of that when we come back, and that will take us basically to the end of the show. And, of course, tomorrow kicks off week 12 with the Steelers and the Browns. Weather's not supposed to be nice. It's supposed to be raining, windy. So, not the best conditions. But we'll get into all that tomorrow. And then, of course, we'll get you set for this weekend. Some big games. Niners, Packers is a big game this weekend. We'll get into that discussion. We'll go from there. So, yeah, for one final time today, make sure to stick around. And we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.